Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and as usual, it is time for our weekly power rankings heading into week 6. I'm not gonna lie, this past week was full of upsets. It was some crazy games that were part of this week 5 schedule, and let's just get into our power rankings. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Alright guys, here's my rankings last week, and these are definitely subject to change based on some of the results that we had this week. So let's just get right into it. Alright, we're going to start with the teams with the bye weeks. I had Detroit at S. You don't play football, you don't move. So I'm keeping Detroit at S. I had the Chargers at C. I'm keeping the Chargers there. And the Philadelphia Eagles, I kept the Eagles at a B. I'm going to keep them there. Then the Tennessee Titans, I had them at C. I'm going to keep the Tennessee Titans there. That does it for the teams that have bye weeks. Let's get into these games where we had the Falcons and the Buccaneers. Last week, the Buccaneers were an A. Honestly, I'm going to keep them there. The Falcons were a B, and I'm honestly going to keep them there. Watching this ball game, I don't think each team played to a way where they can sway me. This was a very good game. The problem was both sides defensively, they didn't get some of those key stops that they really needed to. Offensively, both teams were throwing the football very well. We all know Kirk Cousins broke the Falcons record, over 500 yards. Baker Mayfield threw a very good football game as well. And I don't think each team, like I said, played bad enough to where I think they could be moved. I still think both teams are very good football teams. I still think they are just right there in that race for that division crown. And the Falcons, I will say, Kirk Cousins, he's starting to show a little bit of why they picked him up. I wish they would have ran a little bit more with Bijan, and I wish the Buccaneers would have ran a bit more with White and Bucky Irvin. Shout out to Hillcrest on my alma mater high school. So I wish they would have ran the football a little bit more each side, but overall that was a great game, and I think either team is just staying pat for a moment. Next, the Minnesota Vikings in London. I'm keeping the Vikings at S. I did make a video to where I asked the question, were they frauds? And if you guys watched that video, I knew they weren't frauds. The teams that they had beat, and the way that they were playing on the defensive side of the ball, and the way Sam Darnold is playing, as well as the running game, we'll have to see with Aaron Jones' injury. But this team is playing some very good football. And the Jets, I'm not going to lie, I want to move the Jets to a D, but not just yet. One more bad game in there. This defense, they played as best as they could. The offensively, they just couldn't get anything going. Are we seeing a drop-off of Aaron Rodgers? Hasn't played well, but only one particular game this season. That was against the Patriots. Defensively, they've been kind of up and down. They have made some plays. They have created some turnovers. And it did suck that C.J. Mosley wasn't in the lineup again. But when we're talking about this Jets as a football team, offensively, they don't run the football a lot, as much as they need to, especially against Minnesota. And they came out just trying to throw the football. Didn't work. I want to move them to a D, but I think they're one bad game away from being so. Next, we're going to have my Chicago Bears going up against the Carolina Panthers. Still keeping the Panthers at D. Even though the way the Bears have been playing have been impressing me the last 2 weeks, I'm going to have to keep the Bears at B. Mainly, I do want to move this team up to A. But I think this week will be a little bit telling of where the Bears can move as far as offensively and as far as the things that they can make adjustments to on the defensive side of the ball, which I'm not a particular fan of where the Bears have been playing run defense. Then the Carolina Panthers, they already have a bunch of different defensive injuries. Then on top of that, outside of that 38-yard touchdown run, they really didn't run the football very well. They really didn't play the offense very well. I will give credit, the Bears have one of the best defenses and the best secondaries in the NFL. But I want to move the Bears to A, and I'm not going to be biased in moving to A. I just want to see a little bit more from their run defense. But outside of that, These last 2 weeks, the Bears have been playing some much better football than what we've seen the first 2 weeks. Next, we're going to have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Ravens that had an A, I'm keeping them there. And the Bengals, I think, are staying at C. Even though defensively, they had just been playing terrible. Offensively, they're getting points, they're clicking. Defensively, they just can't stop a nosebleed. The Ravens, I think defensively that was an anomaly game. I think the Bengals offense was just that much explosive in the way that Burrow was getting the football to chase and those deep routes and the way he's been using his speed. The Ravens, the way they've been running the football with Lamar and Derrick Henry, I don't think it's enough for the Bengals to be a D just yet. And the way the Ravens have been playing football the last 2 weeks, whether we're talking about the game against Buffalo and whether we're talking about this week, I almost want to move them up to an A, and I think I'm going to do that. I mean, an S, and I'm thinking I'm going to do that. I think this Ravens team, I think their defense it's like I said, anomaly game. So I'm moving the Ravens up to an S this week. Next, we're going to have the Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. And the Bills, I'm keeping an A for now. I might move I'm moving the Texans to S. The way that they played in this game was CJ, he had his moments. He played some really good football. Also helped form a Buckeye. I always got to point that out. And the Bills these last 2 weeks, it's almost been a Josh Allen show. And it's kind of been like that all year. But the way they handled the late game situations as far as in the back of the end zone, and they chose to throw the football 3 straight times, and then on empty formations, well, you could just easily run the football and try to get this game into overtime. It's almost like they said, hey, Josh Allen, you're the best. Just do something. Didn't work. I like the way they handled DeMeco Ryan, speaking of the Texans, handled the late game situations. So I'm moving the Texans up to S. I've always thought this is a Super Bowl contending team, and they're playing like it. Next, we're going to have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars got their first win of the year. I'm keeping them at a D. And I had to take the Colts at a B. I'm sliding them down to a C. The Jaguars really came out and, for the most part, dominated this football game. The Colts had to play from behind. We all understand Anthony Richardson wasn't in the lineup. Defensively, I've always had my questions about the Colts, and that kind of showed a little bit in this ball game. And the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence played by far his best game this season. Defense, I still would like to see more from this Jaguars defense. I still think they're one of the bottom teams, to be honest. But if Trevor continues to play like this, they are heading in the right direction. Next, we're going to go to the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. And I had the Dolphins at C off of a win. I'm not moving them up because I didn't see anything in that game that really impressed me about the Dolphins. And as we're talking about the New England Patriots, I mean, this team is still in the rebuilding stage, which I'm going to keep them there. Still in the rebuilding stage. You still have a lot of things to be worked on. So I'm not going to say the Patriots are just bottom feeders. We just know what they are. They do play tough. They do play hard. But we just kind of know what they are at this point. And I'm almost tempted to move this football team down. But there are worse teams in the AFC. Today's video is brought to you by Cellular C4. This is a product that I personally used before I even decided to partner with them. And the first thing I got introduced to was the energy drinks by C4. This right here is a fruit punch flavor. They have many other flavors. They have popsicle flavors that just dropped. They have Skittles, Starburst, all the type of flavors that you want. To help you get started with your day, you can wake up in the morning before you start your day and drink you one of those. And also before you get that workout in, when it's workout day, you can take you some pre-workout to help you get the boost in your workout. All the products, 0 sugar, low calories. This is a great product to take you in your workouts and your journey on fitness to the next level. And I am happy to partner with a product that I was already using in my own personal life. And I will leave my code in the description below to save you guys 20% on your first purchase of C4 of their workouts. They even have muscle recovery to help boost after workouts. They have so many supplements and things
to help you on your fitness journey, and you can get yours today in the description below. Click the link and use my code APW Sports to help you save 20%. And again, the links are in the description below, and use the code APW Sports to save you 20% on your purchase. Now, it is time to get back into the video.
Next, we're going to have the Cleveland Browns and the Washington Commanders. And speaking about worst teams in the AFC, this Browns offense, Deshaun Watson, he's not the same quarterback. And I almost called for him to be benched, but they're just stuck. They are really stuck in that contract. They are absolutely stuck. Defensively, they have a good defense. But when your offense has been this bad, they haven't scored 20 points all season. It's just not a good offense at all. And then when we're talking about a team with the Commanders, I'm keeping them at 8. Jaylon Daniels is playing lights out football. This defense has been playing a whole hell of a lot better than what we even expected coming into the year with Dan Quinn taking over as head coach. They have been playing some really good football. Shout out to Jaylon Daniels. He has been looking unlike a rookie so far. I want to head trepidation where I said, is Cliff Kingsbury in the college-style offense? I don't hate it. I don't hate anything. I'm just waiting to see if it gets figured out, because a lot of those college systems, after a while, it get figured out of defensively in this league. So I hope it stays this way for the Commanders, but I'm not going to lie. In the back of my mind, I'm waiting on that fall. And I hate to even say that. But next, we're going to have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. I'm keeping them at a C. And the way the Broncos have been playing, I'm moving the Broncos up to a B rating. Bo Nix has been playing some much better football these last couple of weeks. Defensively, led by Patrick Surtain II, who, along with Jaylon Johnson and Sauce Gardner, have been the best corners in football so far this season. They play a really good game on both sides of the football. I like what Sean Payton is starting to get. I think he's starting to believe more in Bo Nix. He's starting to get that quarterback that this Broncos team has probably been needing since Peyton Manning. Bo Nix has shown flashes that he can be that guy. So I'm really liking what this team is starting to become over these last couple of weeks. Next, we're going to have the Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers. I'm keeping the Cardinals at C, but damn it, I'm moving the 49ers to a B. The injuries have killed them. Then on top of that, when we're talking about the Rams and the Cardinals games, they just haven't been able to close football games. They had leads in both of those games and blew both of them. Whether it's turnovers, whether it's mistakes, this San Francisco 49ers team is just not the same football team. We know they're injured. It's just not a very good team. I'm not going to say they haven't played like a very good team, even though we know what they're capable of, and the injuries does help. And then we're talking about the Cardinals team that I like what they've been doing over just physical they are. I really like what I've seen from James Conner. Kyler Murray played a very good game. Defensively, they were able to get after the 49ers, create some turnovers, make some big-time plays. So I'm going to keep the Cardinals at C for now, but the 49ers, I got to drop them. It's just not – they haven't been playing like to what we thought they could be. Next, we're going to have the Green Bay Packers versus the LA Rams. And I put the Rams here. I meant to put that's the Chargers. And for the Rams, I have them at C, keeping them there. And when we're talking about the Green Bay Packers, I'm keeping the Packers at B. And mainly, I think Jordan Love, he has some flashes where he's a little bit careless with the football. Defensively, they played a lot better game. And Xavier McKinney has been a turnover machine as far as his Packers defense goes. And then when we're talking about the Rams, I think the injuries to that wide receiver position are really catching up to them. Kyron Williams and Matthew Stafford, they've been playing good. I just think those wide receiver injuries is catching up. Defensively, they don't have that one guy that could just be like, all right, we're going to make this play, or I was going to make this play. They don't have that guy on that defensive side of the ball. They have had some solid games and solid moments, but they don't have that one guy, and I'm not just saying that, but the Aaron Donald. They don't have that one guy on the defense at all that could just be like, make that big time play when it's really necessary. So I'm keeping the Rams at C, keeping the Packers at B. Next, we're going to have the New York Giants versus the Seattle Seahawks. The Giants, they look good, but I'm still going to keep them there. Seattle, I had them at A. I'm dropping the Seahawks. These last two games, defensively, they just haven't been good at all. You let Daniel Jones had a good day against the Seattle defense. And they're coming off last week where that defense couldn't stop a nosebleed against the Lions. Offensively, they had some struggles against the Giants defense. They came out and played better football. But Seattle, I'm going to have to move them down. That defense has just been disappointing the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to have to move them. And then we're going to have, Sunday night, we're going to have the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm keeping both teams. I'm keeping the Cowboys at B, and I'm keeping the Steelers at B. I'm moving the Cowboys to B. I'm keeping the Steelers at B. Mainly, the Cowboys didn't do anything in that game that was really impressive to me. Number one, they turned the football over 3 times. You had red zone turnovers. Then on top of that, if it wasn't for the ball rolling a couple of inches in that fumble recovery for Dak, the Steelers win this game. Justin Fields, as much as I love him in Ohio State, much as I love him, former Bear, didn't play as good of a game now. But granted, that wide receiver position, they need to go get Devontae Adams for Christ's sake, because that wide receiver position is just not, outside of what George Pickens is capable of, just not getting much production. I love Freiermuth. We all know this defense is absolutely lethal. And when you tell me that you held the Cowboys' explosive offense to basically 6 points with like 17 minutes to go, you would have thought Steelers had no choice but to win this game. You know, this defense, they kind of let up late. Offensively, they just haven't been complimentary these last 2 weeks. They haven't ran the football particularly well, and especially against the worst run defenses in the league. It's just not a good showing for the Steelers, which I don't hate the Steelers. I'm not moving them down. I still think they are above average football team. It's the Cowboys just didn't do anything to impress me, which is why I'm keeping the Cowboys there at B. Last but not least, we have the Chiefs and the Saints, and I'm keeping the Chiefs at S. Come on now. With all the receiver injuries, Pacheco still hurt. His team is still just playing absolute good football. As far as the Saints go, for now, I'm going to keep it at B. They were competitive. It was just, they had some miscues in this ball game, some drops, some things that just did not go their way. I still believe the Saints are a very solid football team, but they are going to have to find ways to play better defensively, and offensively, they had to get their rhythm back. They're just not what they were throughout the first 2 games of the year, but these are my rankings. Leave you guys' thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.